All in?
I think that Billy has enjoyed. I'm not sure. I have not talked to him about this yet today, but I have seen some of his social media activity. And the sheer indignance that Bill Cowher and Rex Ryan had about the idea that someone could do Rex Ryan's job just walking off the street. The rage that these people felt on behalf of protecting the sacred coaching system as Jeff Saturday burps and farts his way into the room and then comes out and says, "I'm not afraid of anybody. All I'm going to do is change quarterbacks, and you watch how I motivate Matt Ryan to produce what I am saying is the most holy shit moment of yesterday. It was not Justin Jefferson. It was not Tua. It was not Justin Fields. It was Matt Ryan running for 39 yards because Jeff Saturday was coaching the Colts.
He could scoot. Matty Ice. I mean,
you got to be shitting me. An alligator could have popped out of the turf, and I would have been less surprised than Matt Ryan running for 39 yards, eating a human being. Matt Ryan, put it on the poll, please, Guillermo, at LeBatardShow. Did you think there was a possibility on this earth that Matt Ryan would scamper for 39 yards?
that might be the most rushing yardage he's had in a single season. It might eclipse it. I have to look it up.
His career combined all his years.
You can celebrate Justin Jefferson's catch if you want to. I'm celebrating Tom Brady going out for a pass at 45 years old and falling on his face. You guys want to celebrate athletic achievement today? You can. But these coaches, Mike, what's the sound that we have here? Let's start with Joe Thomas, because this kept getting more and more indignant as the week went on, Stugotz, where Jeff Saturday is not qualified for that job.
I mean, what is the job, really? It's be there and just smile for the rest of the season, and then ultimately you're going to get replaced. Like, just don't mess up too badly, and even if you do, we'll get a good pick. Like, this is one of those, like, things where everybody's, like, so upset that he cut the line, right? But, like, do you really want that job if you've never been a head coach before? Because you know that that's not going to lead to him being a permanent coach, and they're just going to replace that person. So, like, if that's your one shot, you want it to be like that, like the end of the year, where you know you're going to get replaced by someone else anyway?
I think it's the cutting of the line by a former player who's white, where there's just a lack of these opportunities. And like, the argument is that you'd never see a black player get this sort of, like, you know, position, even though you're right, Billy.
I think that you would, though. Like, I think that this is how, like, what they end up doing sometimes is, like, they'll give this job to a minority knowing full well we're not going to make this person the head coach long term.
Yeah, Billy, Reggie Wayne is a position coach, I believe, on that team.
But it's a qualified minority. Jeff Saturday doesn't have a resume for this position.
So let me present my theory on this, which is if you were trying to have, as we talked about in the Big Suey, the concept of the good losses. I want to end this season losing as much as possible, but I don't want to tip my hat that I'm tanking, right? So there's two things going on here. One, I have to hire someone who I hope is not going to be qualified enough to mess around and make us win.
The reports are that Irsay bypassed all the decision makers.
Of course.
And just put in place the guy that he wanted who had no qualifications.
One, but two is, why would he pick that guy, right? Well, part of it is no qualifications, so he's probably not going to be a good coach. But the other part of it is, and this is great, if I'm in on a tank job, I need someone who's going to be my inside man who's in on it too. Am I going to pick some guy who's trying to make a name for himself and be a coach? And it's like, no.
Yeah, but you don't know.
Pick someone that I know.
Jeff Saturday's not signing up for losing.
Yeah.
He only knows winning.
He literally did.
I think you've been doing too many episodes of Basketball Illuminati.
I'm telling you.
I think Jim Irsay genuinely believes that Jeff Saturday is the right guy.
And so far, he's right.
Did you guys hear his press conference when he was introduced?
Yeah,
Jeff
the upper quartile.
No, I'm talking about Jeff Saturday's part, where he's like, I don't know if I really want to do this. I'm like, what? Who says that?
He knows.
No,
he said he doesn't want to do this. Is the answer? Like he'll do this for half a year for his friend and get paid and whatever. He's not going to be back next year.
That's the point, Billy. He's doing it. Why? Because he's doing a solid for his friend to do what? To make sure the mission is accomplished. Third eye open, guys. Come on. Football.
They won.
All right, keep that on Basketball Illuminati. We're doing a show here.
There's two things at play, though, with all these people like Rex Ryan and all the people on ESPN complaining about it. It's like there's the argument that qualified minority candidates don't get these positions. And even if they're set up to fail, having interim head coach on your resume is obviously a good thing to have on your resume. But then there's also the argument that like he skipped a bunch of people in line, and that offends the coaching fraternity who believe you have to pay your dues.
Sure.
Those are two different things. I think one of those arguments is legitimate, and the NFL is being sued because of it. And the other one seems like a bunch of salty former coaches who didn't get the call from Jim Irsay.
But this is Joe Thomas, okay? This is not a former coach. Joe Thomas, again, this escalated over the week. People had their takes on Jeff Saturday is hired. Well, the first place people went was there, Jessica. Like, man, there's no such thing as even a Deion Sanders getting this kind of opportunity where you go one of 32 jobs and you've coached high school. That's unbelievable. Jeff Saturday comes out and he puffs out his chest. It might as well have been his hairy chest to do that press conference. The rest of him was not needed there. He was just banging against the microphone. I am here to bump into people, knock them over. I might be terrible at this job. I don't know. Like he said that.
Here's my hairy chest.
I might be terrible, but I'm going to just go straight forward into the hurricane, and I'm going to be unafraid. And people got more and more indignant. Joe Thomas has never done this on air, to my recollection. What I'm about to play for you, Joe Thomas is reserved. Joe Thomas plays the game the right way. Media, he's a pillar. Joe Thomas is pissed off that this job went to Jeff Saturday.
When you hire your drinking buddy to be the head coach of an NFL football team, it is one of the most disrespectful things I've ever seen in my entire life to the commitment, the lifestyle, and the experience that it takes to be an NFL coach, any coach, much less the head coach of the Indianapolis Football Colts. You have got to be kidding me that this is something that Jim Irsay and Jeff Saturday, who's not blameless for accepting the job, could have talked and decided that this was the best thing for the Indianapolis Colts at this juncture of the season. I'm going to tell you a quick story. I lived right next door to Rob Chudzinski. He was our head coach for one season in Cleveland. The commitment that it takes to be a head coach in the NFL is beyond what people can even comprehend unless you've been in that locker room.
Yep.
He saw his children one time every week. That was Friday afternoon.
Yep.
We would get off about 2 o'clock. He would stay till 3. He would pick his kids up from school. He had 4 kids. He would go get ice cream with them. They would come home. Then he would drop them off and go back to the office.
Yeah.
Mighty presumptuous that Jeff Saturday's life also wouldn't be ruined by football.
By the way,
I think he's plenty capable.
there's a lot in that, but let me
The
start.
drinking buddy right at the beginning.
Let me start
That's
with
a shot at
this.
Irsay, right?
No, look, all that's light. Let's start with Jeff Saturday is not blameless here. I'm sorry. If Jim Irsay called me right now, come be the head coach of the Colts, guess what, guys? To hell with this show. I'm out of here. I'm going to do that job. Why should he have blame for accepting money and a position that he's not qualified for?
Respect the position.
No.
Is what Joe
Sorry.
I'm with you. Joe Thomas is wrong, but respect the position.
Shut up, Joe Thomas.
Yeah.
How about that? Respect
for
that
you.
position.
That
Shut
annoyed.
up.
One thing about football, we've seen this. We see this in hockey. We see this in basketball. We see this in baseball, where players just basically go right into a managerial job and they don't have any coaching.
Steve Nash.
I think it's a timing on this. Because if Jeff Saturday, if Jeff Saturday were hired throughout an interview process at the beginning of the season, it'd be a conversation piece. It wouldn't be what it is right now. Josh McCown and Hines Ward got opportunities with the Houston Texans where it looked like they might actually get that job. It was the same school of thought. But to do it in the middle of the season, when you have a staff that features Gus Bradley, people that have done this before, in the middle of the season is kind of odd.
And yet you guys don't want to accept my explanation. I swear to God, it's so obvious. It's
Okay,
I'm not doing a bit. I'm not doing a bit.
Do it on Basketball Illuminati. I'd like to hear about it all over there.
The thing that's also different about
Football
basketball
Illuminati.
and hockey and every other sport is that, I mean, frankly, how are you going to know these many people's names before you start coaching? How many people, when he's giving that post-win locker room speech, how many people in that room does he actually know the
cares?
names?
Well, he was an advisor
say-
for the Colts, so he's already working within the organization.
Case in point.
Jess,
right?
the coach he beat yesterday, Josh McDaniels, has the resume you want from your head coach, and he stinks as a head coach.
Would you
So
rather, if you're a Colts fan who almost tried to hire Josh McDaniels, at this point, would you rather have Jeff Saturday or Josh McDaniels?
He's 1-0. I would take him over Cowher too, who has a 623 win percentage, less than 1,000 win percentage.
We're playing the results.
Rex Ryan 40.
though.
And by the way, Rex Ryan, shut up with skipping the line, okay? Because you skip the line to get on Amazing Race and you finish second to last. Embarrassing.
Great points.
We can get to that another day.
He's not blameless. He should have turned it down.
He should have
apparently.
turned that down.
Quite honestly, it's so disrespectful to every single coach that has actually been in this league. I had a guy named Mike Westhoff who coached for like 40 years in the National Football League, was never given a head coaching opportunity. There's a million great coaches were never given this opportunity. I look at the coaches on his staff. What message are you sending them? Like, oh, by the way, you're going to get fired. It's as simple as that. Because if you don't think somebody is more qualified to do the job as a head coach on that staff than bringing a guy in pretty much off the street with no experience, I mean, you're sadly mistaken.
I love this term, bringing a guy in off the street. We use it a lot of times when guys are injured and they sign players off the street. I just have them like panhandling.
Yes.
Right? Just Saturdays on the corner with a little cup.
That's right.
Says,
Hey, you want to be my coach?
Why lie? I need a beer.
Rex had people on his own staffs who were probably more qualified than him. He didn't say, you know what? Take the job. Why don't you have it? You know what? You should take it.
And
He's also became a coach because his dad, whatever. We don't have to get into that.
Nepotism. Dun, 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 dun.
He said one thing there that I think we should all rally behind is that Mike Westhoff should have been given the opportunity.
40 years? Maybe try something else, Mike.
Westy.
He was a really good coach.
He's a special teams coach for life, man.
40 years?
Those guys make good coaches.
Yeah.
You look at what happened in that game yesterday, and there was plenty from football to discuss here, but the indignance of these people, because Bill Cowher also said it was a disgrace to the coaching profession, and the whole thing broke Derek Carr. Losing to Jeff Saturday broke Derek Carr in half. He's like, I've been asking, like you guys have for about 8 years, are the Raiders for real? I'm pretty sure the Raiders selected Derek Carr to stay with him instead of getting Tom Brady. In the intervening time, their coach was blown out of the league as a racist homophobe. Their owner is somebody who's trying to fix everything Las Vegas, and they're as bad a team as there is. And their last 3 weeks have been super weird. They get up 17-0 on everybody, and now they lose to a coach who hasn't coached a game that everybody's talking about. Like, wait a minute. You guys work all these 150,000-hour weeks to beat the next guy. How is it that Jeff Saturday just walked in there and said, you know what, I'm going with Matt Ryan. He's going to scamper for 39 yards. Also, I'm going to get 200 yards rushing. And I'm going to break Derek Carr. You've never heard a quarterback this defeated.
I love Josh. I love the car. I love our coaches. They've had nothing but success, way more success than I've ever had. And, I'm sorry.
Derek,
sorry.
Continue.
To finish that, sorry for being emotional. I'm just pissed off about some of the things, that a lot of us try and do just to practice. What we put our bodies through just to sleep at night.
He did a lot of that.
He's more.
And for that to be the result of all that effort pisses me off.
What are you laughing about? The Raiders having a pill addiction, an Ambien addiction? What are you laughing at?
Jeff Saturday broke.
Yeah, that's what I'm laughing at.
Matt Ryan scampering for 39 yards.
Damn it, man.
And for that to be the result of all that effort
He
pisses me off.
He went twice to the well of the things we have to put in our body in order to sleep at night. It's just thrown in the middle of that. Do you know how much pain we're in? To lose to Jeff Saturday.
Just strolls on in here.
His eyeliner was probably
Waltzes away
running
with my
all
coach.
over his face.
He also took the opportunity to call out some teammates, too, because he said, and for some guys in that locker room to not care as much. That's... Keep an eye on what's happening in Las Vegas, Dan. Josh McDaniels may find himself out of a job again, and he might be calling plays for the New England Patriots by season's end.
You do not very often hear a quarterback in that condition and it really does hurt to play that game. As you guys talk about whether they're good losses or not, I kind of want my quarterback to feel good if he's going to run around the field out there. You say no, Amin. We'll get to Mike Schur in a second here, but one of the things that I wanted to continue off of the conversation in Big Suey is I do wonder, because I don't think that I'm assuming intangibles when I see in Miami a more confident quarterback, a quarterback who was believed in by this coach as opposed to the previous one who is suing the league. Having support of as videos were going of him underthrowing balls, Tyreek Hill was saying at every turn, you don't understand how accurate this person is. That league hurts. That Derek Carr's brother was ruined. As good a college quarterback as I've ever seen, ruined by losing and getting sacked and losing and getting sacked, and it hurts your body, and we have to put pills in our bodies to be able to sleep at night. Justin Fields or Jeff Saturday, they don't want to endure what it takes in that sport to then lose, to then walk into a losing locker room. I would have thought you, as a front office guy, that you would want your quarterback to get confidence at that position, because I'm guessing it's really been hard to be Justin Fields the first half of this season before the last two games, as everyone's saying, you bum, look how good Tua is, look how good Herbert is, look how good all these young quarterbacks are, and you can't play. You don't know how to play the sport. You're bad at this. And then all of a sudden he's got two games, and he's
the
great.
best athlete
he's
on the
great,
field.
but they lose both games. I don't know what that means to a player.
What I said in the SUI was based on organizationally. Organizationally, this is what we want. We want our players to feel like we have a chance to win these games. And that's a big difference. When you lose games and you're getting outplayed thoroughly, then it's like, I'm not good enough. But when you lose games in the margins, that's a message you can send into your locker room. Guys, we're not that far off. We're not that far off. And that's the confidence builder while also building towards the thing that we want, which is a nice draft pick.
Just relax. I understand that you play a physical sport, but everybody overcomes stuff to make it into work. I mean, Dave, what do you put in your body to get to work?
3 pints of ice cream.
Tequila.
Weed.
Mike Schur, are you ready to play the game, or do you have football thoughts? Are you ready to give us the stat of the day, or do you have a lot of football opinions like everyone does on a Monday?
I have plenty of football opinions, but why don't we do the stat of the day first, and then you can ask me my football opinions.
Okay.
Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day.
The stat of the day is brought to you by ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
All right, this is Dealer's Choice. I have 3 stats.
Wow.
You can tell me which one you want to hear. I've got a Jimmy Garoppolo stat.
Jimmy G.
I've got a Detroit Lions stat, and I've got a Chicago Bears stat. What do you want?
It's built to a crescendo, right?
I'll go Monsters of the Midway. I mean, that's just me. Yeah. Second place
Chicago
would be the
Bears.
Motor City. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Isn't Motor City the number one? I want a Dan Campbell kind of.
Well, the Bears won it.
Oh, okay.
But it's not up to
Stugotz
me.
called it.
Vote.
We're going Bears. We're going Bears.
Well,
Here
I
we
thought
go.
We were all going to vote. Yeah. I mean,
Ranked choice voting happening right now?
Justin Fields yesterday became the first NFL QB with 125 or more rushing yards in consecutive games since Tobin wrote for the 1951 Green Bay Packers.
There goes Tobin Road. Scampering along the sideline.
Tobin Road. I got to look
That's
up
courtesy
Tobin
of OptaStats. He 325 rushing yards over 2 games. That is the highest in history for any quarterback.
What
Pretty
was
wild.
your holy shit moment from yesterday? Who did it involve? Was it Matt Ryan running for 39 yards? Was it Tom Brady going out for a pass? Was it Justin Jefferson's catch, or was it Fields running away from a secondary?
It was Jefferson's catch, which I happened to be watching live with my son, and we just rewound it and watched it 11 times. It's not humanly possible to do what he did. I think it's better than the Beckham catch. Have you had that debate yet? That pointless, meaningless debate?
Yeah, we have.
Yep.
Did it for 3 seconds.
Great. Yeah, I think it's the best catch I've ever seen. Fields running away from everybody. At least you've seen Lamar Jackson do that on occasion. Like it was insane, but you've seen Lamar Jackson do that. I don't think I've ever seen anyone go up for a one-handed catch that the defender has both of his hands on and win one hand against two. That was the best thing I saw.
Now this might be the homer in me speaking, but David Tyree you guys don't think that was a greater catch?
No.
What?
Given the situation, it probably is. But
it was
didn't
stuck right in his face mask, Mike.
No, it was on top of the helmet. I'll tell you what, like David Tyree was a luckier catch. Like what Justin Jefferson
there was some luck involved,
yes. That was skill. That was like, man, he's great. Whereas David Tyree was lucky, but sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
We have never seen, according to the advanced metrics, we have never seen the day Justin Jefferson had yesterday where 9 of his catches were, the expectancy rate on catching them were 50-50. 9 of them. That's the most unstoppable thing at the position. You can make the argument they were putting all of his numbers next to Randy Moss's. Like that might be the best thing we've ever seen at the position. And Kirk Cousins is the single greatest quarterback for about 9 minutes on a Sunday. There are only 9 minutes. Like even Tom Brady wouldn't get near that radioactive area where Kirk Cousins gets to exist. What's your other stat of the day? Is it Lions?
Wait, you want more? You getting greedy and you want me to give you all of these stats that I have?
What, you're going to save them?
All right, I'll give you one more. Right. The highest career winning percentage as a starting quarterback since 1950. Here we go. Tom Brady, 759 winning percentage. Darryl LaMonica, 766. Patrick Mahomes, 783. This is minimum 10 starts. Otto Graham, 792 winning percentage. And the number one highest career winning percentage as a starting QB, minimum 10 starts, since 1950 is Jimmy Garoppolo when throwing 0 TD passes.
That's what he does.
833 winning percentage when throwing 0 TD passes.
I honestly
better than Tom Brady, better than Mahomes, better than everybody.
My brain heard that as 0 interceptions. Like, oh, obviously when he's clean. No, it's 0 touchdown passes.
He's a clean.
That's right.
I just looked something up right now on Justin Fields. Average yards per pass attempt, 7.2. Average yards per rush attempt, 7.2. He's and he's running a little bit more right now, which gives him an opportunity. If he keeps running at this clip, he will pass B.D. Feathers, who set an 8.8 yards per carry average at the quarterback position in 1934. He set that record. B.D. Feathers.
I know Mike.
B.D. Feathers has the ball. He's racing down the sideline. B.D. Feathers, unstoppable.
B.D. Feathers, touchdown Notre Dame. A 5th national title.
Do you guys like the stat of the day that Joe Burrow is the same age as Stetson Bennett?
Get out of here.
Hey, put some respect on that name. Stetson Bennett the 4th.
Yeah. Starting to play well, Stetson Bennett. I mean, that whole
Stetson
Georgia
Bennett
team.
the 4th. His kid is also Stetson Bennett the 5th. Is also playing college football. That's how old he is.
Mike, I have a Bears stat for you, courtesy of NFL on CBS. The Bears are the first team in NFL history to score 29-plus points in 3 consecutive games and lose all 3.
I saw that. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's great losses.
Stugotz is clinging to this great losses
It's
thing.
the best bet season ever,
That's going to be his theme today. I wanted to talk to you about a couple of things outside of sports, Mike. I wanted to talk to you about Chapelle and what was happening at Saturday Night Live over the course of this weekend. I read reports, but I don't know what was true and what wasn't, that writers were either prepared to boycott or thinking about boycotting. Just the idea that Chapelle would be the guy allowed that stage after the midterms. What were your thoughts on on everything that happened there as a former Saturday Night Live writer?
Yeah, I have no inside information at all about what went on. I would imagine that's true, that a number of people who work on the show, probably not just writers, were considering doing something. That happens every once in a while. Andrew Dice Clay very famously hosted the show long before I got there, and Nora Dunn protested and quit the show, actually, because of it. So there's precedent for people who work on the show protesting in different ways internally when hosts who are controversial come to host the show. It's tricky, right? Because SNL has made its bones on being relevant. You have to get people to host who are in the news, who are relevant, who are controversial. Like, that's how that show stays on the air for 50 years. So it's very likely that happened. I hadn't seen his monologue until last night. I watched it last night because enough people had asked me if I'd seen it. Pretty skilled performance in terms of like walking right up to the line and like putting one foot over the edge and then kind of coyly pulling it back with his material about Jewish people in the media. I mean, he's incredibly funny. He's always been incredibly funny. He's arguably the greatest stand-up of this generation, I would say. I question whether I get that he wanted to do that material because of Kanye and Kyrie. It is the thing that's happening right now. I just don't know why at this moment you throw a little more gasoline on that fire, on the fire of dissent or dissension in the ranks between the black community and the Jewish community. I don't know, man. I feel like now is not the time a little bit. And I get that now is the time because Kyrie and Kanye are in the news, but I don't know, man. There's something about that specific subject that would make me think like, if I talk about Kanye and Kyrie, I'm not going to also do just jokes about Jewish people running the media. That would be my preference.
Well, let me ask you this question, though, because as someone, you know that the stand-up comics are doing the bravest thing, the hardest thing in entertainment, and you know how this guy is regarded even historically. He is surgically skilled at the doing of this, and I'm guessing that if he were standing here, what he would say is some combination of, I'm not anti-anything. I'm pro-comedy. I'm fighting for comedians and their right to be able to tell all the jokes in all the spaces, even if it's too close to stereotypes and tropes and hatred and everything else. I'm guessing that he would argue on behalf of pro-comedy, and he would say, my perspective is the black perspective. I am speaking first and foremost as a black man in this country. Some combination thereof is how he would try to defend it.
Yes, that's correct. He said in his monologue, shouldn't be this hard to talk. And that's a very good position and that's a position that if you take, it's hard to take a different one, right? Like, yes, we all love free speech. It shouldn't be this hard to talk, blah, blah, blah. I've said this before, I'll say it again. No one is taking away his right to free speech. No one's ever tried. He has one of the highest paid comedians in the world. He has a deal with Netflix where he can basically do whatever he wants. He was saying what he was saying from the main stage at Saturday Night Live, a very famous comedy program. He tours whenever he wants. He does specials whenever he wants. It's a little disingenuous for him to talk about how hard it is to talk when he can talk in front of an enormous crowd every single time he wants to at the drop of a hat and get paid millions of dollars to do so. I will also say, as I've said before, that stand-up comedians have this thing where they complain about you can't say anything anymore. You can't talk anymore. You can't say this anymore. You can't say that anymore. The problem is the stand-up comedians have had essentially a one-way relationship with their audiences for all of human history. They get on a stage, they talk into a microphone, people laugh or don't laugh. What hasn't happened traditionally is that people have raised their hands in different ways and said, hey, that thing you said on stage just now sucks, I don't like it, and I don't think you should say it anymore. That's the new wrinkle in all of this. That's what's been happening to Chapelle in his jokes about the trans community. It's what's been happening to a bunch of people with different subjects that they've decided to talk about, misogyny and racism and everything else, and they don't like it. And I don't have a lot of sympathy for them not liking it because, as I have pointed out before, freedom of speech means you get to say whatever you want, and I get to stand up and say, hey, that sucks, I don't like it, I think that's racist, or I think that's transphobic, or I think it's whatever I think. That's the part of this that the stand-ups are objecting to, and I have no sympathy for you. Freedom of speech doesn't mean you get to say whatever you want, and I have to sit here and take it, and I have to sit here and enjoy it and like it and not comment on it. Like, that's insane. That's not what freedom of speech is. It never has been. And so I don't have a lot of sympathy for him saying from the main monologue stage at Saturday Night Live, the most famous comedy program of all time. Man, it's really hard to say things these days, isn't it?
But Mike,
I'm sorry, I don't buy it.
Isn't that part of the bit? Like, I feel like sometimes we watch stand-up say things on stage and think this is his actual heartfelt, he's pouring out his inner monologue, what he actually feels. And maybe there's a kernel of that that's in there, but I'm watching and I'm like, that's the joke. That's part of the content, is complaining about, I can't say anything anymore. He's not complaining to us. He's making a joke about it.
No, he's not. No, I'm sorry. I think that's a plea for sympathy. It's a plea for people to stop challenging him on what he says about the trans community specifically. And by the way, what he has said about the trans community is straight hot garbage. Like, there's nothing about what he said about trans people that has any merit or social value at all, other than let's push the envelope and see where the line is and blah, 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 whatever, all that crap. So I don't think he's doing a bit where he's like, man, it's so hard to speak these days. Ha ha, check out where I am and what I'm doing. Well, I think that is a straight up plea for people to stop, or a strategy for people to stop attacking him. I really do. I could be wrong.
I think I'm not saying it doesn't come from a genuine place. I'm saying what he did there was he made comedy out of something that came from a genuine place. And so we can debate what his actual feelings are separate from saying that was really funny, right? Not the whole thing. Obviously, the whole thing was very funny, but even specifically him complaining about what you can and can't say. He opens it by coming out saying, I'd like to just say I stand against anti-Semitism.
He read a statement saying I denounce anti-Semitism in all its forms, and then went to some of the tropes.
Hold on, Dan. Mm-hmm. He said that, and then he says, "See, Kanye, that's how you do it." Mm-hmm. That's the joke. That's the joke. He's not actually reading a statement.
I mean, what I was watching was the most skilled comedian I've ever seen saying to all his comedian brethren, watch this, okay? Watch what I'm going to do on this stage, and my skill will carry me. And I'm in awe of it. I am in awe because I've never seen an orator like this who can do this and has the history that he has to get here, where he fought Hollywood and has got a different story than everyone else, and you can't cancel him because he got too strong. And he got it on the back of laughs, and he got it at a different time. And now there are a whole lot of people saying you're not funny anymore. You're not funny. and he's pushing the line on and he's doing it on behalf of comedy. But Mike, I ask you this, how do you separate those two things? Because you have seen, that it's such a small world, these sculptors who are stand-up comics. So you're sitting there and you're watching and you're like, is this necessary? Do you really need to be on a razor's edge with this and put your toe over and go ahead and welcome the Anti-Defamation League and all of its complications? Are you willingly going into that buzzsaw? Is it necessary? What if his answer is yes?
Then his answer is yes. I don't know. I mean, look, no one's trying to take away his right to say whatever he wants and to make the jokes he wants. Like, go crazy, man. He's done it for 25 years, 30 years. He's done it incredibly well. He's a genius. He's one of the funniest dudes ever. And the way that he's gotten there partially is by doing exactly what he did, which is like poking around, prodding, finding out where the line is, pushing the line. As Amin Al-Hassan once said, the line is where we feel alive. So that's what he has done, right? And so keep doing it. I'm not. No one's trying to stop him from doing it. What I object to only is that when he does that, and people stand up and go like, "Hey, man, that was a little iffy," or "I don't think you should be saying that," or I disagree with you," or whatever. Then he's a wounded bird. A lot of stand-ups are suddenly wounded birds, and they're like, "Whoa, it's so hard to talk these days. Oh man, everything's cancel culture. Blah blah blah." Like, that's the part of it I object to. I don't object to the joke telling. Tell any joke you want. Just don't complain when people stand up and say that they don't like the jokes you're telling, or that they think they're anti-Semitic or racist or homophobic or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like, again, and this is what Dan is talking about, the skill of Chapelle is, I think there are a lot of stand-ups who try to do that, complain as part of their act, and they just sound whiny. And when Chapelle does it, he does it in a way that I find to be hilarious, even as I don't agree that he's persecuted. I don't think that. But also part of that ethos comes from a time when he was kind of on the outs. You mentioned it. He was out of it. He's like, this is someone who's saying, I walked into the pit of the volcano. I've seen it. I've lived it. So you can't tell me what it is or isn't about. When I've done it, I've seen when I took the path less traveled, and rather than people just say, well, Chapelle, decided out, people made up a million different wild ass reasons and rumors to figure out what he was doing. And when you come back from something like that and come back 100 times stronger, 100 times richer, 100 times more powerful,
I'm awed by it. I'm
no
legitimately awed that he can make Netflix bow, that he could get the name of his show back, that he could beat Hollywood, and that's the resume he's taking up there. But I'm with Mike on, like, really? Jews run Hollywood is the best you can do at the top of your craft?
I love that you said that, because the joke was, you get a group of black people, it's a gang.
It was a funny joke.
It's a group of Italians. It's a mob. You get a group of Jewish people, and it's
a conspiracy, and we can't talk about it.
It's a coincidence, and we shouldn't talk about it, right? So the implication when people say, "Oh, that's an anti-Semitic joke," is that, yeah, also groups of black people are gangs, and groups of Italians are the mob. All three of those things are examples of stereotypes that people barter on.
Yep.
That aren't true. But the only part that people found to be offensive was the part where referring to the Jewish community. That, to me, is the genius, is to make you jump up and say, I object to that joke.
It's a good joke.
And I object to that joke because of that line, that punchline right there. But I don't object to the setup.
Yeah,
what's the Lions
it's
stat,
a good joke.
Mike?
It's a good joke. Nazis didn't march in Charlottesville and threaten violence against
I asked
Italian
for Lions,
people.
not Nazis.
You know what I mean? Like that. The objection that people have is like, right now at this moment is a very dangerous time. There are active threats against synagogues across America.
Absolutely.
There are no active threats against groups of Italian people.
Are
right
there
now.
any active threats against groups of black people? Because I kind of feel like 400 plus years of that has been happening. And I think that's a lot of, again, the kernel of where a lot of this stand-up is coming from for Chapelle. It's like, even when you talk about his jokes around the trans community, it's the idea that in this country, people will be up in arms about all sorts of worthy causes about prejudices other than black people. Like, well, black people, it's just, you kind of, well, that's just the way it is.
But this
there are threats on synagogues. Absolutely. There's also a threat every time there's a cop behind me, Mike.
Yeah, I know. This is the problem, man. This is honestly the problem with this whole thing, right? You know what a white supremacist's wet dream is? Black community and Jewish community fighting each other.
Sure.
And so when Kyrie or Kanye or anyone dredges up these old anti-Semitic tropes and puts them out there, and then we have this debate. What is happening now is we're talking about who has it worse, the Jews or the blacks.
We're doing
when meanwhile the same neo-Nazi assholes who are marching in Charlottesville and are right now all coming back to Twitter because their hero is now running Twitter. They hate everybody. They hate all these people. And so that my objection to what Chapelle did is like it's not, don't make jokes about any group of people you want to make jokes about. Go ahead, man. It's your microphone. You have the
Can you help me with the bridge? Can you help me with the bridge though? Can you help me here, Mike? Because you are someone who will you made your life in comedy. You appreciate all of this stuff. And you're saying this particular time that we're on in America, do you have to do the insincere to lead off your bit? We denounce anti-Semitism in all its forms. And then do you need
disclaimer?
To, at this time, do you need to go there? His argument would be, yes, I do. On behalf of comedy, on behalf of who I am. Do I want to be remembered like Pryor? Do I want to be a leader for all of these people in this industry as I have been. That's what his argument would be.
We've all heard that argument. I've heard that argument many times. I don't particularly buy that argument in every instance. I sometimes would say, hey, if you make jokes about the trans community, for example, which he has done and then gotten very angry when people got angry at him for doing so, it's like his at some weird level, what he's saying is black people in this country, this is the original sin of America, even though I suppose you could say Native Americans was the original sin, but black people, African immigrants, the original sin, brought here against their will, enslaved. And I won't stand for any group of people being treated like more of victims or more absorb more pain than we have. That's his argument. My argument would be like, well, that doesn't mean, even if you believe that, that doesn't mean there aren't dozens and dozens and dozens of groups of people who have experienced enormous amounts of pain and maybe at this exact moment are actually experiencing more intense pain. And so why punch down at them? Why? What's the point of pitting individual groups of people against each other? That doesn't make any sense to me. I understand that his argument, a lot of stand-ups argument, a lot of comedians' argument is, like that this art form depends on pushing the envelope every single opportunity, every single place we can, testing those boundaries, blah, blah, blah. If you stop me from doing that, then we're not really free people, whatever. All I'm saying is, like, from time to time, you might look around and say, hey, it doesn't make any sense to punch down at a different group of people who are also experiencing pain. I just don't see the value of that. I never have, and I never will. And so he can say whatever he wants, and I get to say, I don't think he should say that because I think that sucks. I think that's a crummy point to make, especially at this exact moment in American history. It's a stalemate. It's just a stalemate. Like, we'll never resolve this. Like, he thinks what he thinks. I and other people can think what we think. And then what we're left with is hopefully a situation where we all punch up. Like, that's the thing that I want him to do, is punch up. He's the best in the world at punching. Punch up at the Nazis who are marching in Charlottesville or something. Like, those are punch up at Trump. Well, whatever. I don't want to get into this. I have to take my kids to school.
You're 20 minutes into it.
We're not going to get the Lions stat? We're not going to get the Lions stat?
All I wanted. Jesus.
The Lions yesterday won for the first time after leading by 14 points in the fourth quarter since 1993.
I didn't even hear it. It doesn't matter. Thank you.
That is why, with every fiber of our being, we love the playoffs.
When the best play, trenches face to face, sacrifice life and limb for the Lombardi. If there's a way, Stafford turns it all around. It would have to be LA, it would have to be McVay. What'd you say? Tom Brady, always out. Could he turn it all around now? Turn it all around now. Wipes the blood from his lip. Holy shit, he's gonna do it all again, do it all again. It's time for the playoffs. So grab a beer, I hope it's Miller Lite. It's time for the playoffs, the playoffs. It's time for the good stuff, where every game comes down to guys who kick. It's time for the playoffs, the playoffs, the playoffs. Ah, the playoffs. Hot goalies, playoff beards, and Lord Stanley. No, Roy, I'm not talking about ice hockey. I'm talking about the NFL playoffs. The gridiron. Win or go home. The ultimate postseason tournament. Here, let me show you. Big Ben's last game. Kyler's feeling shame. Upsets in Green Bay and in Tennessee. There's just no way Prescott's going to the ground. He slid 1 second too late, and they don't have a timeout. Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Arrowhead, become personal playgrounds. Too much time, 13 ticks. Holy shit, he's gonna do it all again, do it all again. It's time for the playoffs. So grab a beer, I hope it's Miller Lite. It's time for the playoffs, the playoffs. It's time for the good
Playoffs sometimes mean having to say goodbye. Even if you're not ready. Careers wind to an end. Mantles taken. Last chapter's written. But stars emerge to write new, exciting stories. For every door that closes, a new one opens. For every immunized quarterback that falls short, there's a young hotshot ready to take his place. There's nothing quite like playoffs. The playoffs. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. I'm talking about the greatest of all time. He can turn it around in just one play. You can watch it all happen in the playoffs. The playoffs, it's the playoffs. Never is afraid. I've seen his face. The chosen. I'm talking about Evan McPherson. It's time for the playoffs. It's the playoffs, the playoffs, it's the playoffs.
Evan McPherson? The GOAT? He's a kicker. I mean, Tom Brady's bed's still warm. Tom Brady just left. You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time. He's beautiful in every way. It's out of control.
He throws the ball most accurately and won 7 rings.
So good at quarterbacking, he's meant to outdeck teams.
A 6th-round draft pick with a chip on his shoulder and a dimple on his chin.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all He broke so many records and reached unattainable goals.
I said he was done 10 years ago when he shoved it down my throat.
He played the Jets twice a year and always ripped out their souls.
And just like that, he left us all wanting more. He's a certified gold.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all. The greatest of all time.
The greatest of all time.
The Jets. The Jets. Why this team? The Jets. Ah, the Jets! The Jets!
Stugotz, what's the matter, buddy?
I mean, Greg, just one time. I mean, 40 years I've been rooting for this team, and just one time I wanted my team to play in that big game in that beautiful dome in Los Angeles.
Dome? What about the elements? Back in my day, we didn't play in a dome.
Let me tell you, back in my day, we considered football to be an honorable game. We didn't have to pass the ball every single play, and that's how we did it back in my day. It's the cold in December and sweltering two-a-days. It's embracing occasional punts. And don't get me started on instant replay. Now we're cooking with gas. Watch out. I'm not done, by the way. Let me tell you, back in my day, there was no showboating. We respected the game. We sat on a stoop and let the radio play, 'cause that's how we did it back in my day. It's the wishbone I wish for. It's a toss to Red Grange. It's a first down without a taunt. Playing the game the right way. Oh, that's right. No retractable ruse. I'm talking frozen tundras and ice bowls. No Van Brocklin. That's why they call it football weather. Bud Grant and the Purple People Eaters, ladies and gentlemen. That's how they played the game back in my day. It's Len Dawson enjoying a smoke and a brew during a game. Hank Stram wearing a sports coat. Legalize the clothesline and bring back drop kicks while you're at it. I'm Greg Cody, and that's how it was back in my day. Ba-da-ba-diddly-up. Bop. Ba-da-ba-diddly-up. Bop. Bop. That kind of thing.
I'll spend all night out in Venice, then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin, not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Now, Mike, you know we're here to cover the big game. It's a time to be professional and avoid all the temptations the City of Angels may have to offer. Ain't that right, Jess and Kate?
That's right. We're just here to ask quirky questions to grown men wearing their full uniforms without pads in a convention hall.
Oh my God, is that George Clooney?
It is!
Maybe one scotch at the Roxy.
Come on now!
One shot at whiskey, a go-go.
There we go! Now we're drinking to avoid temptations, but a job to do. Professionals with a drink or two. Just a thimble of gin, and then I'll be locked in. After gin, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Stugotz is trying to get Jeff Saturday for God Bless Football. He's trying to chase him down.
And Matt Ryan.
It's bad news for them next week. Auto fade.
I push back on that.
Exactly.
I'd like to push back on that.
Yep. Marcus Freeman won this weekend.
Barely.
Exactly
Wow.
right. Yeah, but
No, he
Wins a
won.
win.
Ryan, Dave won.
Ryan-
Dave had a bye week. He won this week.
Dave's.
Easy cover. Easy cover for Navy.
You're having Brian Kelly on before the SEC championship game, I hope, right?
I think we're supposed to have him on this week.
God bless football.
We need
for
to
those...
talk about all the people that you're planning on having on this week because there's a limited amount of space.
But I can have him again, Jess, whenever you want me to have Brian Kelly on. Brian Kelly is one of the people I'm trying to get on this week.
Jess got a head cold after appearing on the show.
Seriously.
I want to talk about this for a second because this award-winning Friday property that Billy and Stugotz have birthed is gaining popularity and awards at every turn, and they're getting all of football's giant names. Billy is feuding with PR guys. He's legitimately feared in the PR community. Look out, Chad Steele. He's coming for you with the Baltimore Ravens, and the podcast is getting more and more popular. And it is cursed though, because at the end of that game, I was so hard rooting for Navy, not Jessica, so that Notre Dame and you could lose, but just so that God bless football could continue with the curse of we got smoking Marcus Freeman on and he immediately loses to Navy. Thank you for your service.
But they won, and that's really all that matters.
Way, by the way. That's the way
That's
you beat
how you handle Navy.
That's
Yep.
exactly how you beat Navy.
Can you have a moral loss? A moral win, excuse
That was
me?
a victory for
Or a moral
America.
loss,
It was
yeah.
a victory for everyone, Dan. It
Right.
really was. That was a victory for everyone. That's what I tried to
Including
say.
those who
Yes.
backed Navy plus 17.
Because you were
He's
betting,
gambling
you
again.
were betting on the curse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Against the
you
spread.
gotta bet. You gotta bet against the curse.
There's no
Or bet with the curse, I guess. You
Frank
could
Reich
say.
got fired afterwards.
That's his own doing.
But you know, when you
He
have
insisted on coming on again. I mean, that's
Because he
his
was
right.
superstitious. Because he was superstitious, he decided to keep getting cursed.
He got a win, and then he wanted to come back on. He requested to come back on, and I told him, listen, you're taking this a little too far, Frank. And he was, because
and
now
when-
he's fired.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when you're Notre Dame and you have a 35-point first half, you don't need to play him as hard in the second half because it's Navy. It takes them 10 minutes to score a field goal, and
Not
that's
on
why they're
Veterans
called the midshipmen.
Wow.
Not
Chip
on
Kelly
Veterans
hasn't been the
Day.
same.
That,
Chip
man.
Kelly and
You're
UCLA
right.
have not been the same since he
right.
appeared on
They
your
were
program.
6-0 when they came on. God bless football is award-winning, and it's also cursed, and it's going to make it harder to get guests. But you guys have no problems with guests because it's usually about 40 or 45 an episode, correct?
Well, the Golic name really goes a long way.
Well, this is one of the amazing things to witness. It really has been amazing because I think it's the first time that's worked. I haven't seen it work before, but now he's in Carl Douglas's phone and he's like, "Can you get me Queen Latifah?" Stugotz for 20 years has been trying to run this grift of get the famous person to get you other famous people. And it's sort of happening, which is why Jabba Chamberlain is on every week, but I don't know. And they're getting big name guests left and right from football, and I don't know how many of the machinations here are just covered in Stugotz grease.
Antonio Tarver has promised us Frank Stallone this
Yeah,
week.
we're 2 weeks away from Sly because we get Frank and then we get Sly.
One of the interview
It's all coming together,
one of
Dano.
they don't understand that they are only on the pod, correct? So that you can grift your way
It's a
up
Ponzi
the,
scheme.
up the fame ladder.
It's a Ponzi scheme.
How
That's what
many
it is.
guest trees are currently open right now? 6 or 7 guest
Well, how many
trees?
trees are in the forest, you know?
And the weird thing about Billy is, so Billy doesn't love that he's getting swamped with inefficiencies, but yes, Stugotz, I'll get you 40 people this week, and I'll keep calling Frank Stallone's people. And Billy, I feel for you because
Billy will edit it down.
It'll be
we
fun.
have, we have 3 hours and 40 minutes of content. He'll turn it into an hour 10.
That would be an easy week. Like that's the thing. If we had 50 guests and each one of them was like 5 to 10 minutes, it'd be fine. It's the 45 minutes with all of them, which really makes it tricky.
But credit to Billy's editing because he really makes that
best,
show
yeah.
zippy and quick. During the Marcus Freeman interview, Golic was on his phone from a bus because he's moving across the country, and he was talking all over everyone. We were stepping on each other, and I listened back to it. Billy, it sounded amazing.
What Billy has learned, and this is terrible for his life and his child and his wife, is that yes, you'll find 10 minutes of gold in Stugotz's 4 hours.
The highlight of the Golic
Thank you.
stepping over people was one time him and Jess spoke over each other because Golic couldn't see any of us, right? And he goes, "You go ahead, Jess," and then he just asked the question anyway.
Classic Golic.
Marcus Freeman laughed.
Then it's like bobbing for apples if the apple was in a bucket of shit. That's funny.
Yes. Just like
Amin, you were talking before. I know we get swallowed
Very nice of you.
on Mondays by football and on God Bless Football on Fridays as well. But you were You were reciting off the top of your head some ridiculous Steph Curry stats, just absurd. Man. What he is doing with the basketball doesn't have precedent. We can argue about anything. We cannot argue about that is the greatest shooter. I don't think there is less of an argument anywhere in sports where you're just like, oh, that's the greatest I've ever seen, period. There's no second place.
At shooting.
There's just no second place. It's not close. It's not. We're arguing about Justin Jefferson. We're going across decades with, what's his name? David Tyree. Yeah. What's the greatest catch I've seen? Odell Beckham. Steph Curry. Nope. And he's about to give you stats that are more impressive than even what you thought Steph Curry was doing.
So Steph Curry, everyone knows he's a great shooter. He's a great three-point shooter. This season, on shots inside the three-point line, so on 2-point field goals, he's shooting 68%. That's higher than Shaq's highest career field goal percentage in any season. Shaq, who almost all of his shots were around the restricted area. 68%. These are two-pointers, floaters, all types of things.
He's basically shooting a percentage inside the three-point line of he's dunking all the time.
Yes.
He's playing like a dominant
like a center.
Like a center. On 2-pointers, he's been Shaq.
And he's doing 9 shots a game, by the way. It's not like 2 or 3 of these. He's 9 shots a game. Inside the restricted area, 3 feet and in. Mike, did you hear me say this to Dan earlier?
No.
Guess what he's shooting inside of 3 feet to the bucket?
80%.
78%.
At his size.
78%. It's right now, it's crazy to me. He's averaging 33 points a game or whatever it is.
You're not saying the wildest stat.
Give me the wildest one.
The Warriors are 5-8.
What? I mean,
and winless on the road.
Do it on the road.
And have a worse record than the tanking Spurs.
They lost to the Kings.
So there's a couple of things going on. Number one is no one's talking about Steph Curry and what he's doing right now. Like, he is in a weird, hyper-efficient zone that, again, I don't think we've ever seen anything like this. But then the other part of it is the Warriors are in a situation where they are relying on inexperienced people to help them win games. That's the reason why they were like 5-1 at home and winless on the road, because they're relying on a bunch of 20-year-olds to try to win games that in the last year you had guys who were more veteran, whether it was Bielitsa, whether it's Peyton, whether it's Otto Porter. Those guys are guys that have been around. These guys are kids. And so while everyone is panicking right now because the Warriors have a worse record than the tanking Spurs, what they're doing is they're getting all the bullshit out of the way right now so that at the end of the year, these guys won't be wet behind the ears, scared kids. They're going to be people who have been seasoned and roughened up by the rigors of an NBA calendar.
I cannot believe the NBA standings right now.
No, it's crazy. It's crazy
nuts.
town. It's crazy town.
Explain the Jazz. Like, I don't get
The
that.
Jazz are 10-5.
Yes.
They'd be a 4 seed. The top seed in the West is the Trailblazers.
They got chewed last night. So
crazy game.
Let me tell you
and
something.
everyone's 7-6, correct? Everyone's 6-7. Everyone in the middle.
In the East.
Yeah,
everyone in the East, outside of Milwaukee. This is Jazz.
Boston.
I'll tell you what the Jazz are. Stugotz. Number one is we got to start with the premise that their roster is not bad. I know they traded everybody on. Like, they have a bunch of rotation players who would play on any team in this league. So that's one. But two is also it's a new coach and new players. So there's not really a book on how they play yet, but the league is going to start catching up. There are two things that are going to happen. One is the league is going to catch up how they want to play. There's only so many Lauri Markkanen all-star performances we have out there. He's
capped
good.
out.
He's not that good.
What if he's an all-star, though?
He's good. He's not that good.
He's got the same rating as Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson was all offended that they had the same shooting rating.
Klay Thompson, that's a different story. That's a sadder story. But
I think that's another reason why you want to blame 20-year-olds. They still have vets on that team. They're going to be paying Poole a lot of money. Like, I don't.
I mean, one of the things, I know everyone loves Klay, and I'm certainly not sophisticated enough with my eye to be able to explain to you the difference in Klay Thompson's defense right now versus what Charles Barkley said, that's the best two-way player in the game. Yeah. I don't know. He's been through 2 really bad injuries. He says out loud, I'm not the player I used to be. Of course not. Duh. I haven't played for a long time. But I don't think people know how hard it is to be that great, and I don't think people understand how much you lose when your body betrays you like that. Because I can't measure it watching, but he's probably pretty terrible at defense right now.
He's not anywhere near, obviously, as great as he was before. And I think Klay is frustrated that he's not what he sees himself as. He thinks of it as something I just got to work through. I'll just say I don't know if you can work through this.
It's age, no. Yeah, it's age and injury. This is the decisions they have to make. Man, that rocket ship burnt out and spit out Kevin Durant. It was too much. They've been in there 8 years. And Draymond and Klay at the end are going to get belched out by the business of we had to pay our young guys. We had to pay people who, and it's going to hurt because he's beloved and he's a champion, but that's how they get old. That's why Memphis is comfortable talking to Klay Thompson. And Klay Thompson will tell Phoenix and everyone, well, we got 4 titles, but Booker's here to say, no, you guys got old. You guys are old now. Steph's still carrying you, but Draymond, Klay, you're old now. Old champions.
They had the lifeboat, though. When they were struggling, they got the big ticket item in James Wiseman. It seems as though that was a miss.
They also have Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga, who part of this season, and Amin, you can speak to this, how difficult it is to sort of pursue the path of locking in your future, which is you have 3 young first-round draft picks that are sort of meant to anchor your future, but also you're a championship contender.
Yeah.
So how do you manage to go through the lumps with young players while you're losing games and you still think you're a title contender?
But you have to. If you want those guys to be contributors in April, May, and June, this is the trial by fire they got to go through. And that's the part that I think when I talk to them, they don't seem to be panicking at all because they knew this was going to happen. That's the same thing when you say, oh, well, Klay, that's why they're not as good, because they weren't counting on Klay to be Klay Thompson. They knew what the deal was. They were counting on Jordan Poole to be a lot more consistent than he's been thus far. As the guy who has played and has been a contributor, like he's supposed to be the leader among the young, the brat pack or whatever you want to call it. That part is like, okay, that up and down stuff hurts. But Draymond's played well, and Steph has been out of his mind. So all we're talking about is the others, as Shaq likes to call them. You got to bake the cake at 400 degrees for 40 minutes. You can't ratchet it up to 800 degrees and be done in 20 minutes. It just has to bake for as long as it does.
They're world champions. I don't understand this.
They're world champions when they had a roster, a supporting cast of dudes who've been around.
But I mean,
you don't think it's because of supporting cast?
I don't think it's because of Bielitsa, no.
I'm looking at the box score. I'm with Mike on that. I'm looking at the box score just from last night's game. It's the same starting 5 that won them an NBA championship a year ago. They all played 30-plus minutes. The guys coming off the bench are veteran.
What part are you guys
It's Jordan
not getting?
Poole. It's Dante DiVincenzo, the
DiVincenzo's
Italian from Ohio. I mean,
Delaware.
Oh, yeah.
That's a fine. No, so the supporting cast is not as seasoned as it was. Oh, look at that! He actually has it.
Their defense stinks.
Their
defense stinks,
because they
and
have
that's not because Bielitsa is gone.
No, you keep making it about Bielitsa, but Gary Payton.
It's a funny
way to do it.
Gary Payton and yeah, I know.
Gary Payton's
That's
a big
how I
deal.
can dismiss you.
Yeah,
he chose perfectly, to be honest. I mean, he's undermining your argument with, you're not going to tell me they're 5-8 because of some 8th guy on the bench.
He made a great choice off of your bad choice of mentioning that guy.
Don't give me the Bielitsa pack. I'm going to take it.
I'm more interested in the business corroding the thing. I'm more interested in Draymond and Klay not getting paid at the end, as Poole and Wiggins do, and that's how they say they're light years ahead. Where they're saying, we'll take whatever the luxury tax is, we'll beat everybody's head in. You'll want to change the rules on us. You want to go to the players' union right now. We're so far ahead of you in the way that we're doing this that you want to make it so we can't build in these advantages of having the champion already and grooming our G League team with a bunch of picks because we're ahead of everybody. And also at the end, Draymond and Klay are going to get belched out by the thing, and it's going to hurt. It's because of the emotional attachment. It's going to hurt them because Klay's going to think he can still do it.
But I don't think we're at that place yet. I don't think the business is doing the 5 and 8 part.
Well, no, we're not at that place yet. But when Draymond's punching Jordan Poole in the face after 8 years of living in that cauldron, man, I don't know what that cauldron is. I don't know how these guys get tired of winning. Why would you get tired of winning? It seems like it'd be more fun to be Steph Curry then than now. 5 and 8, you got to do all the work, and you're looking at Clay, and you're like, oh, you're old. You're old and injured. You can't guard for me anymore because I've got to do more. My guess is Steph's already lived the great fun of, no, it's great. It's when it's cool and easy. I like just passing over here to Kevin Durant and being light years ahead of everyone that way.
So, first of all, Stugotz, you said, it's the same starting lineup. The lineup of Curry, Thompson, Green, Wiggins, and Looney, plus 24 points per 100 possessions. They're still awesome.
Right.
It's the guys that come in after that, they still haven't figured out how to win. Then what they're trying to do is they're trying to walk the most treacherous tightrope there is. I'm trying to transition to what's next while still living in what's now. That's damn near impossible to do for several reasons. One is what's next isn't quite ready yet. Two is what's now isn't ready to leave. And three is the best version of this that evolves has it's not a stark switch. It's we're going to just slowly slide our chairs this way and you slide your chairs this way. And all of a sudden I'm sitting in your seat and you're sitting in my seat.
And on the way in the transition, Draymond might punch you in the face.
Might punch you in the face.
Okay, that might happen.
And all while you're paying your tax bill is larger than some of the payrolls of whole divisions in this league. It's not easy. It's not supposed to be easy. But it is necessary for them because I don't know. Let me take that back. Maybe they could have gone out there and gotten a whole bunch of other vets and ran it back and won it again. But what they're trying to do.
They could have had Bielitsa. He went to Turkey. I don't understand this. Like, if Bielitsa, why did they let him go to Fenerbahce?
Is there any reason that you're not willing to say what Chuck did about Clay? I feel like Clay is one of these so popular players that nobody wants to say to him, your body has now betrayed you. You can't come back from that. Your prime is spent. You are not unlike Amin El-Hassan admitted earlier in the show. You are now in decline.
2018. God damn, that was a year. For me and Clay, by the way. Clay is one of the most openly vulnerable people I think we have in the sport. In a sport where everyone, or in a industry where everyone is macho and you don't really show how you feel, whatever. When they had the top 75 players listed and he wasn't part of that, he was legitimately hurt. And he came out and said, I know there are other players that, man, it's some bullshit. I wasn't on that. Like, Clay's like, no, this is bullshit. I wasn't on that out loud in a press conference. And his whole thing was, all the things they told us was most important. I did it. You said wins, right? Rings, sacrificing, doing whatever it takes. And that's the damn catch-22 of our sport, at least, and maybe all sports. It's the same thing that Chris Bosh had to go through. It's like, he's killing. Yeah, but you guys won 48 games in Toronto, and all right, I'm going to come down here. Oh, shit, it's too much. Someone needs to take a step back and sacrifice. Okay, I'm going to focus on defense and rebounding and being a better shooter to space the floor. And what did they say? Chris Bosh only averaged 18 points a game. Maybe he wasn't that good. That's what they said. They didn't say, oh, shit, this guy who was an all-star and all-NBA player took a step back in order to be more successful from a team perspective. All the things that we are taught are the most important. They said maybe he's not that good. That's the bitch of it all for our sport and maybe all sports.
It hurts. It does. And he tells you it hurts. And when Chuck says you're not the player you used to be, he's like that hurts. You hurt my heart. I'm trying my hardest to do all the things you guys want me to do because I could have been traded for Kevin Love to Minnesota and I'm probably averaging 40 points a game in this league. I could have been Trae Young.
Clay would have been Reggie Miller. Clay would have been Reggie Miller on his own team. You would have built a whole offense and he would have scored 25 points a game and would have won 50 games and
one NBA final, lose it, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
But what he did instead was said, I'm all right not being the number one or the number two guy here. I'm all right with it. And in return, we get all of this. It's the same lesson that Durant, by the way, learned, ironically, which was, you guys sold me it's all about rings. Okay, I went out and got rings. And what happens? Stugotz says those rings don't count.
That's right. That's right. Okay, but I don't know what you guys are looking in the other room right now on television.
Where it's the tragic story out of Charlottesville with the football team. It appears that all three victims were members of the UVA football team. Suspect was I believe a walk-on. He's in custody right now, so we're watching that press conference. There's an immense tragedy revolving the Virginia Cavalier football team.
I'm learning of this right now. What happened?
No, they're right now looking at the other television. We were talking.
I know, but the news story they're talking about.
There was an active shooter on the campus of the University of Virginia, and 3 of the players who were shot are believed to be members of the University of Virginia football team.
Got it. I didn't even know there was a shooter. I was like, Mike's giving updates to a news story that I don't know about.
Yeah, the shooter also ties to the football team, now in custody.
Yeah, ex Virginia football player is wanted after the shooting.
Sheesh.
All right, let's take a break and we'll come back.
So much to see instead of the big game. And the traffic is bad on La Brea. So come on, join me in popping tequila.
Get it! I'm just here to drink and find Lewis Hamilton. Hey guys, great. Need a shotgun of beer or what?
I don't feel so good. I am genuinely fucked up right now.
Showtime, buddy! Racism, greed, trauma to brain and spine. And yet, I cannot look away. Heroes are dead. Science has their heads. Oh, is there no escape from here? I need to know. It eats my soul. Nothing stops me and Is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's human cockfighting. CTE prayer circles. They blackballed the blackballer. They tried to end racism by stenciling it in the end zone. Billionaire boys using millionaires as toys. It's all immoral, all unethical. Ooh, the witching hour. Nothing stops the NFL. Is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's Urban and Snyder and Flores and Gruden, but Kyler, but Kelsey, but
That is why, with every fiber of our being, we love the playoffs.
When the best play, trenches face to face, sacrifice life and live for the Lombardi. If there's a way, Stafford turns it all around. It would have to be LA, it would have to be McVay. What'd you say? Tom Brady, always out. Could he turn it all around now? Turn it all around now. Wipes the blood from his lip. Holy shit, he's gonna do it all again, do it all again. It's time for the playoffs. So grab a beer, I hope it's Miller Lite. It's time for the playoffs, the playoffs. It's time for the good stuff, where every game comes down to guys who kick. It's time for the playoffs, the playoffs, the playoffs. Ah, the playoffs. Hot goalies, playoff beards, and Lord Stanley. No, Roy, I'm not talking about ice hockey. I'm talking about the NFL playoffs. The gridiron. Winner go home. The ultimate postseason tournament. Here, let me show you. Big Ben's last game. Kyler's feeling shame. Upsets in Green Bay and in Tennessee. There's just no way Prescott's going to the ground. He slid 1 second too late, and they don't have a timeout. Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Arrowhead, become personal playground. Personal playgrounds. Too much time, 13 ticks. Holy shit, he's gonna do it all again, do it all again. It's time for the playoffs. So grab a beer, I hope it's Miller Lite. It's time for the playoffs, the playoffs. It's time for the good stuff, where every game comes down to guys who kick. It's time for the playoffs, the playoffs, the
The playoffs sometimes mean having to say goodbye, even if you're not ready. Careers wind to an end, mantles taken, last chapter's written. But stars emerge to write new, exciting stories.
For every door that closes, a new one opens. For every immunized quarterback that falls short, there's a young hotshot ready to take his place. There's nothing quite like
Playoffs, the playoffs.
heavy is the head that wears the crown. I'm talking about the greatest of all time. He can turn it around in just one play. You can watch it all happen in the playoffs. The playoffs, it's the playoffs. Never is afraid.
Real life keeps happening in ways that scare you and happen in this country in a way that don't seem to happen in other countries. So forgive us for breaking free of the usual Football Monday hijinks, because the shipping container was just sort of staring at the television because of the horror of an active shooter and just details that are coming out now about the Virginia football team. Another story that is super serious that I have my regrets about not getting to last week, because some of the things around this make it feel like you're shouting into a tin can. Brittney Griner ending up in a Russian penal colony and it escaping sort of. We don't really have the ability to talk about it. We're out of our range on like what. Okay, we're good. We're doing war hostages, and a vape pen can't be at 9 years in a penal colony as they're trying to trade. Russia, who's at war, is trying to trade for murderers, and they've got all the leverage because we, of course, want Brittney Griner back. I just don't know how to talk about. I don't have the facility to be able to advance that story any, and I suspect that we should keep shouting about it and not allow it to escape people's attention, because she's a human being who is of great fame and value here that is clearly, I can't even imagine the horrors that her life is right now, and her fam and the people who love her, to have her in a Russian penal colony with a 9-year sentence over a vape pen.
It sounded like what her family was saying was that one of the things that cheered her up while she was being detained in Moscow was that like fans and people were writing her letters and like giving her letters of support and wishing her happy birthday, and that she just didn't want people to forget about her. So I think one thing that we can do, while the situation is obviously really scary and uncertain because her own wife doesn't know where she is right now, like they're transferring her to a penal colony and it might take weeks to find out where that actually is just to keep talking about her and remembering her and not let her feel forgotten.
And so I guess we should at some point tell people how to do that. If there's a way to communicate with those people or to give that information out, because I was remiss in not talking about it last week, as if you can just sort of skip by that kind of story, which just common courtesy we would not do to an athlete of her stature if it was in male sports. It's not something that would be happening as quietly.
It is also like a kind of a weird time for it because there was an assumption that Vladimir Putin didn't want to make a deal to release her back to the United States before the midterm election. So now that the midterms are over, there's hope among the Biden administration that they might be able to actually like negotiate now, because the Biden administration, I believe, had put in an offer over the summer to have her released back and another American prisoner, Paul Whelan. And so now that the midterms are over, there was some like silver lining. Maybe now they would finally be willing to negotiate. But then out of nowhere, seemingly, they transferred her to this penal colony. So that kind of puts things a little bit more up in the air. But now that the midterm elections are over, there is maybe a chance that, because Putin, I guess, didn't want to give Biden a win before the election. So that adds a whole other like wrinkle to it too.
Do we know why she's being transferred?
Well, because she appealed the conviction and lost the appeal, and so they knew that at some point they might be transferring her away from this. She's been detained in Moscow in like a holding cell.
Got you.
Which is
like
cleaner.
central booking or whatever.
Yeah, like it's a little bit more of a like sanitary place, and the penal colonies are descendants of like Russian gulags
work
and
camps,
they're work camps. Yeah, they're essentially we don't know what might be happening here.
Horrors. Just whatever you can imagine in the least free of places as a prison system.
Right. So there were thoughts that after the appeal was over, she would be transferred eventually, but maybe we would be able to bring her back to the States before that. And then they essentially transferred her without warning, and people that her legal team in Russia didn't find out until they went back to the detention center like a few days later, and she was gone. So it's a really scary situation. It goes without saying.
I think that's tough because you meant, what can we do? What messages can we put out there? I mean, she's essentially political prisoner right now. Yeah. She's in the middle of a conflict between Russia and the West, and they don't really respond to the sorts of things that we would do if a situation like that happened in the U.S. There is sort of no pressure you put on. It's really dependent on the State Department and the Biden administration and diplomacy in some way to try and work its way into a country that doesn't really want to be doing diplomacy with us. It's a very desperate situation because there's not really a ton that people can do about it. If you've appealed in the Russian court system, if the State Department has tried and made offers, and it comes down to the politics of which way does the House of Representatives go, like that's just such a difficult thing to even try and begin to navigate.
As as in the middle of all of that, what gets swallowed is we're funding arms to Ukraine. In the middle of that.
Yeah, and Biden came out with a very strong message and said that I don't believe that Putin is fit to be the leader of Russia. I don't think he should be the leader of Russia anymore. Like there's genuine political belief or political, I guess, things that you fight for, right? If you believe on the side of Ukraine, you do come out and make strong statements, but that this one individual's personal plight is part of the ramifications of it.
Stumbling over, however awkwardly, through all of this big real-world stuff that isn't exactly the frenzy and fun of a football Monday, Chris Whittingham, shockingly, today, after that game, and I'm not proud to admit it, Vikings, Bills, I pooped myself. Just shit my pants. Watch the end of the game.
Seems excessive.
So did Josh. So did Josh Allen.
Wait, are you sick too?
It was nuts.
Maybe it wasn't the game. Maybe it was a bug.
peanut allergy. But Whittingham still out on the Vikings.
I still don't believe in the Vikings.
Wow.
They're 8-1.
I know, but so if you watch the way that game transpired, Buffalo kind of gave it to them. Buffalo was up 27-10. Josh Allen threw terrible interceptions, and Kirk Cousins obviously makes a ludicrous throw. Not even the one to Jefferson, but there was a really tight window that he threw into. But they probably should have lost on not being able to get in the end zone. They probably should have lost in that 4th and 18 when Kirk Cousins just chucked it into the air. What you said earlier, you think they might be the best team in the league. I just don't see that with Minnesota.
Said that?
I don't know if Stugotz
has been saying it since the start of the season.
They're a really good team.
I mean they're obviously 8-1. I don't know if I'm doing this still with Cousins. I don't know if it's the game. Like, there are times where you watch their games and they don't overwhelm teams. They just happen to have won a bunch of them.
They won by I'm sorry, Mike, 5 points. Like an average, they're winning one-score games.
There's something to what both of you are saying. I believe their point differential. I'm not a huge believer in point differential in the NFL because every game takes on a unique identity, but I believe their point differential is 35 points at 8-1, which
the Patriots have a better point differential.
They're plus 35, but they're also plus 7 in the win stat. Yeah. You know, they're 8 wins, 1 loss. That's plus 7.
I believe I have to check it out. I saw it on Twitter yesterday, but I think that's the second worst point differential for a team with this record since the merger.
And they beat Green Bay by 16 on the opening day. So their last 7 wins are 3-3, 8-8, 7-3-4.
I would say to you, we've had this conversation a lot, one-game samples. Like, football's so random and silly. So much of it is random. I don't know if the Giants are good. They seem to be good according to some metrics, including the standings. They seem to be good, but all they win is these really close games in a league where everybody is playing hugely close games. So I ask you, is it an ability to win these one-score games? And I would say the answer is if Kirk Cousins is playing at 4-12 that day.
He's winning.
And he's in fourth quarter or overtime. I don't care if Brady's in that window. Now, if I go straight, wherever you put primetime, no, please, no. Wherever primetime is, whatever the time on the clock is. But Kirk Cousins, I'm willing to agree with both Tony and Billy and concede on this after seeing what I saw yesterday, which was Josh Allen pooping himself. Kirk Cousins for 10 minutes on a Sunday is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
He also can't win close games for some reason, Josh Allen. Like, it's really weird.
Bad in overtime. I don't think he's ever won an
never
overtime
won an overtime game. Get
Yeah.
it done when it counts. Overtime.
The other thing, too, so I'm curious if you guys think there's a bit of a gray area with Cousins because it's sort of a primetime game because it's the national game of the week, the 4:25 kickoff. The sun will be down as the game is being played, so it'll end at around 7:30. It is sort of primetime. Also, for all the belief that Stugotz might have in the Minnesota Vikings, they're at home with the Cowboys and they're underdogs. They are home underdogs to the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday, despite their 8-1 record.
He's still doing wins. Stugotz is still doing wins.
Well, what else do you
Well, that's
use?
how they decide the Super Bowl, Dan.
They've got 8 of them. I mean,
let's do Stugotz's weekend observations.
It is time for Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
weekend observations brought to you by Miller Lite. Great taste, 96 calories, available for delivery. Dan, he once held a 28-3 lead in a Super Bowl until Tom Brady happened. This past offseason, he was traded and was supposed to be the missing piece. But someone else thought Sam Ehlinger was the missing piece. That someone else was fired. And in strolled a man who through his many years of coaching is known for his love of a veteran quarterback. So he was inserted back in the starting lineup. He then led his team on a game-winning drive and a 25-20 victory over the Raiders. And Dan, just like that, make no mistake about it, Matt Ryan is back.
Stugotz.
Matty Ice.
That run, that drive, right? The drive.
It's a great drive.
But
yeah.
Matt Ryan's 39-yard run was in the game-winning drive, was it not?
Yeah, because he could scoot. Patrick Peterson is a Viking. Did you know that?
Yes, he's
before yesterday. Did you know that?
Yes, he's had a couple of
the second
interceptions
interceptions when
year.
you found out.
No, a couple of weeks ago, he was out there playing. I thought you just called them the best team. You haven't been watching them?
8 wins.
Name on the front, not on the back, Dan.
Yep. Well, that solves it. From 1 p.m. Eastern to roughly 5 p.m. Eastern, the greatest quarterback in NFL history is Kirk Cousins. I agree with you. How about that? You said it before I said it, Dan. I'm proud of you.
I'm sorry.
Stole my thunder. Jeff Saturday, Coach of the Year, Collision Course. Coy, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's not going to the college football playoff.
Aw.
Cute. I love duckies.
Duckies are cute.
I know.
I agree.
I love a little ducky.
Stink at football, though.
They're free.
That's a duck, man.
Even though he barely knows any of them, no one knows his players like Jeff Saturday. LSU, congratulations on winning despite your terrified coach. If you thought Jeff Saturday wasn't starting Matt Ryan, then you know nothing about Jeff Saturday. By the way, the terrified LSU coach will be a guest on God Bless Football this week. Additionally, when the terrified coach comes on...
Wait a minute. Billy's making faces.
What happened there?
I think
Well, I just heard you say we'll be a guest on God Bless Football. I said, who now? Who?
Brian Kelly, the terrified coach. And when he comes on, I won't mention that he coached terrified. I will compliment him and congratulate him on getting a big road win and ask him when we can play golf and drink some beers.
You guys are like family.
Why is he the terrified coach when he just beat Alabama going for 2 at the end a week ago, and you said he was the greatest and ballsiest coach you've ever seen?
Well, he was 2 weeks ago. Did you see the game this past week? He was terrified. He was just trying to get out of there alive. I mean...
Afraid of a little frost, too.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Lived in Louisiana for 8 months. Come on.
Can I see correctly that Arkansas's big plan to defrost the snow on the field was to spray water on it?
No.
Have you ever defrosted a chicken, Mike? You put cold water on it.
Jeff Saturday cares about 2 things: looking you in the eye and veteran quarterbacks. You dispute that, Dan?
That's it. No, totally agree, Stugotz. Been saying it about him all his
Thank
life.
you. There should be a 24-hour weather radio station with a show that breaks down and tracks the accuracy of weather people. I can hear myself now. Dan, you know what the O in Phil Farrow stands for?
I do not.
It stands for O for the last 100 times you told me a hurricane was flying right over my house.
He's a weather terrorist. He is.
I like how mad you are that he
He
was
should
wrong.
be mad. He should be mad.
Terrible job.
The guy has been a plague on our community for 20 years, threatening us with storms that don't hit us.
I like how you guys would rather have the storm hit. Like, oh,
It's
finally you
weird.
got one right.
You just tell me it's
weird.
going to hit, then hit.
Ridiculous.
I mean, Dan, you know what the P in Phil Farrow stands for?
I do not.
Publix. I have a deal with them. I scare the shit out of you.
Oh, wow.
You
think
go
he's
to
got-
Publix.
You think now you're accusing him of predicting storms to. You think he's in bed with the local grocer?
I do, yes.
Open up that third eye.
Don't you?
Weather Illuminati coming soon.
Jeez, so obvious. You want to do the show with me?
I'm here for it.
Death, taxes, and Mason Crosby. He's still out there. Crazy. Congratulations to Caleb Williams, who now owns the strangest rushing stat line of all time. 8 carries, -4 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Nice.
How? Guy's good, by the way. John Morant plays every game like it's Game 7. I have no idea what that means, but he does. Doesn't he? It's like Iverson a bit.
Yeah. Reckless abandon.
He's always trying to prove something.
He is?
Yeah, it feels like.
And he does a good job of proving it.
Game 7.
Whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. Kawhi Leonard, I have an idea. Play basketball.
Come on, man.
Where is he?
He's hurt.
Been hurt for 2 years.
I have an idea.
He's been hurt for longer than that. It's longer than 2 years. How long has it been?
He got hurt in the playoffs in 2021.
We cannot appreciate that championship on one leg enough. He dominated the NBA on one leg and hasn't been the same since. And Stugotz is out here. Play already.
He's walking like Kaiser Soze.
Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, collision course, literally. George Russell, the only successful Russell in sports in 2022.
Oh, man.
The best lad. A completely new digital currency started by a 28-year-old in the Bahamas. I mean, how could anyone have seen the demise of cryptocurrency?
I mean, Mike, the FTX stuff has to be making you crazy. No? Bankruptcy, it's making you crazy, is it not?
Making me crazy in that who could have seen this coming outside of everyone?
Dan, you know what the demise of crypto means?
I do not.
It means the U.S. dollar remains undefeated.
Yeah.
Just like Father Time.
Put it on the poll.
Oh, this is going to age like guacamole.
Yes, it is. Yep, it is. Put this on the poll, Guillermo.
Just trying to make it to holiday bonus time, guys, before the complete collapse. Come on. Come on.
Tom versus the U.S. dollar.
Put it on the poll,
We
Guillermo.
got 3 more pay cycles. Let's go.
At LeBatardShow, put it on the poll. Who do you bet on, value-wise? Tom Brady.
Don't even do this. You guys are jinxing it. Stop it.
All right, I won't do it.
Let's just get to January.
Or the U.S. dollar. I get it.
College basketball started.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Yeah. Did you know that?
Aircraft carrier, I saw that. Always enjoy that.
That's cool. That looks cool every time.
Always cool.
Every time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big college basketball head now. Women's and men's hoop season ticket holder.
Oh, no.
Did you see NBC broadcast their first ever women's basketball game in the year of our Lord 2022 this weekend?
First ever?
First ever.
That's not true.
City Classic.
They've done Olympics.
That's what they were billing it. First ever women's
Oh,
college
college
basketball.
Wait, they were billing it that way?
Yes.
Wow, what a weird cell phone.
I agree with you. Thank you for saying it.
As a company, we might be going to Bimini to cover a basketball tournament
Bimini.
after
Oh.
Thanksgiving. We
As
just
a
haven't
company.
gotten people to say yes to pay for that trip yet.
It's about
I
how
like
we do that.
Apply public pressure. I like it.
Well, I mean, we want to
When is
support
this?
women's sports, right?
When is this?
Day after Thanksgiving, Bimini.
Cross
Bimini.
mitzvah.
Except Tony's going to fly the plane, so.
Oh, boy. Just enough to beat him, but not enough to embarrass him. Notre Dame. That's how you handle a game against the Naval Academy. Well done, the midshipmen.
Stugotz, you know what it was
What?
for Notre Dame?
What?
A tale of two halves.
I love a tale of two halves. Was it just me, or does Tom Brady really love Germany?
That was cool.
It was odd.
The German game was awesome.
It was cool.
But what did he eat there? It's all carbs.
Does it not feel to you guys like that game was 17 months ago? After Bills Vikings.
Yeah,
it
after Bills
felt-
Vikings.
It
Yeah.
felt
Yeah.
like that game was Tom Brady vintage 33-year-old Tom
You know what
Brady.
the weird part about Bills Vikings is that game was understandably super long. It took all these twists and turns, and you never wanted it to end. And as it was ending, you look up, and there was 7 minutes left in Titans Broncos. And you could always tell, like, here comes the 3rd and 14 dump off to Latavius Murray.
Did you guys, you probably didn't have this happen to you because you were betting on the games, but
He's a Bronco?
I walked away from Vikings Bills and I'm like, I don't want to watch any of this. These 4:00 games, not interested.
Colt McCoy versus
It's not going to be anything. I don't want to watch the next
the
3
battle
hours.
of the backup quarterbacks in SoFi Stadium didn't keep you. I don't understand how it's 22 years after the turn of the century, and on 3rd and 14, we're throwing a dump off to Latavius Murray.
God, the Broncos are hideous. When the Dolphins game ended, we now continue with live game coverage of Broncos Titans, and it's like, no, literally, is there not another game on?
But how did this
something else on, please?
How did this happen so quickly? Russell Wilson was electric.
Yeah.
And if you dropped Y.A. Tittle in today's modern age and he watched Titans Broncos, he's like, oh shit, I could do that.
Yeah, the game hasn't changed at all.
No, just plug and play me. I'm good to go. I'm good to go.
Are you with me that Russell Wilson is now playing himself out of the Hall of Fame, Dan? Are you? Are you finally coming
I just
around?
can't believe that I don't want to have anything to do with any of his football games. I don't want to watch him play football.
That's a take. Careful. It's spicy.
Is it?
Isn't it?
It is.
Welcome to Cinephobe.
Gino, do it against Tom. You know what the P in Alex Pereira stands for? Puncher's chance. Mike Pereira.
What was that?
Baby.
What was that? What was happening there?
I've been waiting for someone to ask that question.
I'm still unsettled.
What the fuck was that?
Oh no!
Mike Pereira was flopping his tongue at somebody off camera in a way that was sensually aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
He was licking his bottom lip and showing his bottom teeth at the same time. And then he got up and left.
And no one knows why. Like no one knows the explanation to what he was doing.
Know.
I do want to know.
I'm dying to know.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo.
Maybe somebody had a sandwich on the side of the stage.
He was hungry.
The danger witch was there, and he was just, I gotta go.
Put it on the poll.
We've all
Guillermo.
been there.
At LeBatard Show. Do you want to know? Do you want to know why Mike Pereira was flopping around his tongue sensually? Yes or no?
The Raiders should have hired a coach with a little less experience. That was the star. By the way, the 4:00 game, because I'm with you. Like 5 o'clock, you're like, hey, nothing is going to, outdo what I just saw. But then Jeff Saturday was standing on the sideline.
Not just that, then Packers Cowboys too. Like I always get drawn back in. I'm just saying, I pooped my pants, so I had to leave because Bills Vikings was so crazy that I was like, that was too much to consume. There's a field goal there. It's just the last 10 minutes of that game were just crazy.
West Coast needs to get its shit together when it comes to football. These 4:00 windows are nap central right now.
Mm-hmm.
Bad football.
You're saying Packers Cowboys was bad football?
No, that was all right.
fine.
But how many? It's been like a month straight where Scott Hansen's like, well, if you're watching in Europe, don't worry, the game will be here. But if you're in America, we're just going to sign off.
I think that's like because it's only one game, so
Yeah,
they
they
can't just
can't-
broadcast.
That's my point. Like there were 2 games going on. Well, 3, but only one was dominating your red zone.
4 o'clock slate next week is not promising.
What is it?
3 games: Raiders at Broncos, Bengals at Pittsburgh, and the good game is Dallas at Minnesota. But again, it's about.
But it's the bad Kirk
It's
Cousins.
again,
Yeah.
We're going to be saying goodbye to the local audience, and if you're international, just stay right where you are. You get to watch this slop.
If you'd like to know if you are anti-Semitic or not, just sit with Adam Silver for a few hours. He'll let you know. The hell is that? Jeff Wilson Jr., instant dividends. Kevin Stefanski can scoot. Did you see him sprint down the sideline yesterday during the Dolphin game? Oh my God, that guy is fast. New Jersey Devils, Las Vegas Knights, Lord Stanley, collision course. Raheem Mostert looks like he's taking it to the house every time he touches the ball. If he gets a tiny little crack, that guy he never goes through it, but if he gets it, he's flying through it. Home run hitter.
That's correct.
Yes.
Everything you say is so.
Thank you. The Utah Jazz are somehow better without Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. How?
That's going to age poorly. He really does expect them to keep this. He expects them to be the 1 seed in the West. Stugotz will take any small sample and make it the one that matters.
Conley, a veteran point guard.
You wonder if they tried it just without, if we just take Gobert out and then tried it. I wonder if Mitchell would have just enjoyed life so much more, not having to play with Gobert anymore, that this could have happened with Mitchell.
Stash that away in the something to ponder file.
Put it in the back there.
Dan, you know what the C in Bill Cowher stands for? Crybaby.
Oh, wow.
Christian Wilkins, Menace. Christian Watkins, coming out party. Dan, yesterday, Bradley Chubb played against his brother, Nick Chubb.
His name is Watson. Christian Watson, isn't it?
Threw me off, too.
It's a fun. You, of course, know what that means, don't you?
Means that they're not actually brothers, but cousins?
It means that a couple of Chubbs were cutting it up. Cousins, really?
Yeah.
Huh. Do I owe money for that, or?
That seems like you really stumbled at the finish line there.
Kirk Cousins.
Look up 17 to win. 17
Tony
to 10
Brothers.
win at home. All right, let's play the game, guys.
17-0. Go ahead.
Look up 17 to 10 win at home in the dictionary, and what you'll find is the Tennessee Titans. New York Giants, worst 7-2 team in NFL history. Another Sunday, another great loss for the Bears. Bills Vikings, game of inches. Tua, male grooming endorsement, collision course, the armpit hair. Stole that from Marty Fish. So I got a text from Whitty yesterday that read, hey, Justin Jefferson, do that in a win. Dan, you know what the W in Whitty stands for? Whoops. Also, stick to football. The Jets and Dolphins are better than the Bills. Hell is going on. Speaking of hell, Art Briles. Dan, those are the weekend observations.
Evan McPherson? The GOAT? He's a kicker. I mean, Tom Brady's bed's still warm. Tom Brady just left.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time.
He's beautiful in every way. It's out of control.
He throws the ball most accurately and won 7 rings.
So good at backing. He's meant to our decade teams.
A 6-round draft pick with a chip on his shoulder and a dimple on his chin.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all
He broke so many records and reached unattainable goals.
I said he was done 10 years ago when he shoved it down my throat.
He played the Jets twice a year and always ripped out their souls.
And just like that, he left us all wanting more. He's a certified gold.